We're starting now with Don Brennan. Don, if you please.
What an honor to start this off. Hi, Shawn. How are you?
Good, Don. I just said to Lucas and Michael, I said, I'm not following Michael next year. It becomes a little less exciting for all you guys.
I was going to ask him if he had a question for us to ask you, but I missed out on that one. I think, Shawn, I think that my first question would be regarding your quarterback situation, and if you've had talks with Jeremiah Mazzoli about his intentions for next year, if you want to bring him back, if about Crum, if you want to bring him back, or if you just want to hit the highway and look for somebody else.
Yeah, definitely have been speaking with both of them as we are with all our free agents. So I think when you get into sort of this week and next week, it really crystallizes what's going to happen in free agency and who's going to hit the market or not. At the end of the day, all these guys want to play football and want to be starters. If they didn't, they wouldn't be playing, right? So I think they're looking at the situations around the league, and we'll continue to converse. Can't say enough about both those guys as Redblacks and as people. So we'll see what happens in the future. We'll be prepared for whatever is to happen.
Is there any indication of what Khalil Pimpleton is going to do?
Feel confident that Khalil's going to be back with us. He still has a little bit of time with his window, but he's been very straightforward with us that unless the opportunity completely worked for him from a financial and standpoint of fit for him, that he's excited to be back in Ottawa for next season.
I think we were only allowed 2 questions, so I'll let somebody else jump in.
Thank you very much, Don. Should you have anything else, please rejoin the queue. Next, we'll go to Justin Dunk. Justin, please go ahead.
Shawn, just because the Alouettes did it to us yesterday, are we going to get off this availability and then Bob Dice and your extensions are going to be announced?
I have no idea, but I will say that Bob and myself working together, I thoroughly enjoy it. We want to be in Ottawa, and we plan to be in Ottawa, and excited to get into the 2025 season.
If we're looking at your free agents, specifically the receiver position, Justin Hardy was a guy that you guys brought in from the NFL and have developed to the point where he's a CFL star now. How would you categorize where things stand with him?
Yeah, very, very good. I think I talk about free agency every year being an ebb and flow of conversation, and sometimes some of the deals can come together a little quicker than others, but we're actively conversing, talking to Justin's agents, and Justin deserves to see what his market is, and they're probably exploring that. They're seeing that, but at the end of the day, we want him to be a Red Black. I talked about it at the end of the year. Someone asked if they're concerned about his age, and I said, does he look like he's a 32-year-old receiver out there? And what he does and what he brings to our organization and professionalism, definitely a priority for us that we're hoping to get done sooner than later.
One of your big free agent ads last year was Adarius Pickett. He's obviously going through this rehab process, but it looked like he just brought a great amount of energy to your team and also leadership. Do you anticipate him being back with the Redblacks, and how are those discussions going?
Yeah, same thing. Definitely conversing. Always a bit interesting with the injury standpoint. We definitely never want to rush a guy back from injury. That's definitely how I view things. As a player has to be ready physically and mentally when they come back. So we're working through that. I've talked to Darius a few times this offseason, talking to his agent actively. So ongoing and continuous, and again, seeing if we can get a deal done before free agency.
Thank you, Shawn.
Great. Thank you, Justin. Next up, we'll go to Frank Stanici. Frank, please go ahead.
Here you go. Yeah. Welcome to a new year, and I hope you're enjoying yourself there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I got in late last night. Had one of those crazy travel days that turned into 3 flights to get down here. But we got here, and if anyone can get video information of me running through LaGuardia Airport, it will be funny video for all you guys to have.
Absolutely. At least it's not Christmas. I wanted to ask, I think this is probably the best off season that you have as far as an opportunity to make another step towards winning a Grey Cup. You put together a really good team. You had a chance to see how it played. The next step, help us understand now that you have your quarterback, keep him healthy. You've got a real opportunity to really, represent the East in the Grey Cup. I think it's a realistic thing. And what do you think you have to do that?
First of all, we don't try to. Sorry, we don't try to win off season. We're just trying to get better day by day. And it's cliche, but I think the biggest thing I spoke to at the end of the year, and Bob spoke to at the end of the year, is the day-to-day consistency that we need to achieve as an organization. It's not just about game days. It's about 7 days a week and doing the right things continuously. Have a lot of respect for the teams that have been at the top of this league, that they do that. And when you do that, you're able to maybe grind out wins when you're not at your best that night, and you just believe in the process. So we're continually trying to evolve. At the end of the day, we're not going to be what we were in 2024. No one in this league is. Everyone's starting fresh, and what that means is remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, we can right where we go, good or bad, on what we do this season by working hard and being a consistent football club.
I guess all I'm saying is it helps to have some confidence to be there and to be able to repeat it. As all my point is. That's all. But thanks for your comment.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Frank. Next, we'll go to JC Abbott. JC, please go ahead.
Hey, Shawn. Interesting about the acquisition of William Stanback. Why did you feel you needed to go out and sign him?
Well, you have a player that we have high regard for in Devontae Williams, but he's coming back from a significant injury. You always want to have depth in certain position groups, and we felt last year there were certain times in the season where we didn't have that depth. So to be able to add someone in the open market like William, we thought was a no-brainer. Always been a very close observer of him through his career. I think he's been an impact player in this league, and excited to get him up here in Ottawa.
And in terms of Devontae Williams, where do you see him at in his recovery, and are you expecting him to be at full strength for training camp?
Yeah, I definitely think with timing and what doctors tell us, he should be. But at the same time, until you get on that field at training camp or in a game, nothing can simulate it, as you guys know. So you want to be prepared. There could be times in camp where he needs some time off, a day off or whatever, and we got to respect that. He's coming back from a major injury, but certainly excited to get him back day in and day out in our locker room. He's a guy that's a dynamic player that did a lot of great things for us. And, definitely when I got that phone call in April, it wasn't a fun one to hear that going into this season. So most of all, just happy that he gets to play the game he loves and enjoys and gets rewarded for all his hard work this season.
And Bob mentioned that in his ideal scenario, he'd have both those guys on the roster as a 1-2 punch. From your perspective, how realistic is it that you could have two American running backs on the game day roster consistently?
You just have to make choices, right? At the end of the day, Coach Dice is given the roster during the season to make decisions. And, we talk about it weekly, and you have to be open-minded going into the year. So definitely, I think if we wanted to, we could. It's all about making the choices of how the roster shapes down after that.
All right. Thanks, Shawn.
Thank you.
Thank you, JC. We'll now go to John Hodge. John, please proceed.
John Hodge, 3downnation.com. How you doing today, Shawn?
I'm great. I'm on the 3Down Nation gauntlet of questions right now, so let's do it.
Well, nobody else is asking them, so we will. I wanted to ask you about, this past season, you inherited a team that hadn't gone to the playoffs in a few years. You didn't go to the playoffs the first couple of years. Do you feel like you have turned the corner, so to speak? And I'm curious, what would you say to local fans who have maybe stayed away because they're afraid to maybe invest in the club a little bit, having seen a number of losses from, we'll say, 2019 through 2023?
Yeah, like I said, I don't look at turning the corner. I look at each year as a different year in its own entity. But at the same time, you want to reward internally, meaning our players, our coaches, our organization. I don't take it lightly that everyone talks about the coaches and GM and scouts and everything, but there's 100+ employees at OSEG that have worked through all these years and deserve to be rewarded. And then the fan base, right? So to be able to put our home record together last year and play like that in front of our home crowd, definitely I felt was rewarding to them. We don't deny what we want to be. We want to be a fast, physical football team that makes Ottawa a tough place to play, and we're excited to put an exciting product on the field. We know that's what our fan base wants, and we'll just continue to work hard to work on the guys that aren't back, and we invite them to come to our games beyond the team on the field. I believe our facility and our game day experience is second to none, and it's just a quality experience to come to Lansdowne and be a part of our game day.
Speaking of Lansdowne, this is looking forward in the future a little bit, but what is your understanding of how the upcoming, we'll call it, remodel of the stadium and some of the surrounding amenities will affect your club?
Oh, I don't know a ton about it. I do know we have very highly qualified people leading our organization that will make it as easy as possible for us, but make the changes at the facility to be second to none. So it's an exciting time. I believe we already work out of a great facility, but to modernize it and to look forward to that, my only hope is I'm still there when it's all completed.
Last one for me. Damon Webb had, he's been around the league for a while, but a bit of a breakout year, I think it'd be fair to say, this past year. I'm curious if you're actively negotiating with him on an extension.
Yeah, definitely have talked with him. Had a great season for us, playmaker. Much like the other guys, you got to bring everything together and make everything work. And when you have a more successful season, your guys usually are sought after a little more and the finances go up a bit. So I'm sure 8 other GMs are saying the exact same thing about free agency questions right now, is you're just trying to put all the pieces together. Ultimately, we're not going to have the same team, but we are actively talking to many of our free agents right now, including him.
Thanks, Berkey.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. We'll conclude now with how we started with Don Brennan. Don, please go ahead.
Shawn, I know that a lot of things can change between now and then, but as of January the 14th, what is your mindset going into the free agency? What are you looking to address if you had to, if you were put on the spot, which you're being put on the spot now, how would you answer that?
I think we were very intentional last year in free agency with of getting guys that can make a difference and provide something that we're lacking. So definitely want to be looking for difference makers. We believe we have a lot of pieces here. At the same time, we've seen some re-signings this week, and we do believe in continuity as well, especially in certain aspects of the team. So we'll continue to build, but I don't see us being completely overly active. At the same time, I do think we got a lot of building blocks here.
I asked Bob yesterday. I'm not sure if I understood the answer or if he answered, or as far as your coaching staff, when is that finalized now? Is everybody in place, or when do you expect that to happen if it's not?
Well, I think Bob's still talking to a couple people here, and it'll be finalized in the near future. A lot of the guys are in place, and we just look to announce our staff all at once.
If I can just ask one more final out the door question. I've heard that there's possibility Jalen Ackland may not be back or may consider retirement. Do you have any sort of an update on his status?
No, not right now. I believe in giving players some time in the off season and whatnot. It's still fresh at the end of the year, and Ak and me go way back. So we'll touch base and go from there. I haven't heard anything one way or the other to answer that question.
Okay, thanks for giving me the opportunity to catch up to 3 Down Nation.